Lifeboat Live, we have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck.
Hey, everybody, it's Monday. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass, my partner, Mark Wages. Welcome to the lifeboat. People, I would like to say hello to Tamara Morgan. Don't know that that's a name that I've seen before. Love looking out on deck and seeing names I haven't seen before. That's awesome. It is also a lot of fun to look out on the deck and see a name you haven't seen in a while. Jesse, brother, so good to see you here, man. So we were just talking about you the other day, not on the air, but we were just talking about you the other day. So really, really glad to see you, man. Really am. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Brandon Taylor. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Noise Opera. I had a chance to talk to Brandon on the phone for a little while, which was awesome. I love talking to the crew. He's, he's called in before, but you hear someone's voice for a period of time and you get to talk to them. It's always fun stuff. Pamela Swan, good to see you. Aaron Jones. Boy, we've got the entire crew. I want to thank everybody for coming here on a Monday night. Tonight's going to be a fun one, people. I predict that this is going to be a good one here on the lifeboat. I really do. This is a subject matter that, it leaves it wide open to interpretation, doesn't it? But we're going to talk about some things that, hello, Miss V. I think it's difficult oftentimes to try to describe what it is that we have here. It's one of those situations where all the time, people will say, if I say that I have a YouTube channel, they'll say, what is it that you do? And I guess we're a sobriety channel, right? That's sort of the catch-all that you hear all of the time. But that's sort of major. Good to see you. It's a really wide, there's a lot of latitude in that, isn't there? The sobriety channel. Because the truth of the matter is, very often we talk about things that don't have a lot to do with sobriety. Everything has something to do with sobriety, but you understand what I'm saying. There are shows that we do where we're not mentioning drugs much at all. He says, I'm doing better, going back to work finally after this injury that happened in December, going back this Sunday, the 2nd, finally. Well, we're glad that you're doing well, and we're glad that you're here, man. We really are.
That's a big step, staying sober too. It really is.
Yeah,
getting back to going to work. Yeah.
Really, really good stuff. The boat is a rockin', says Tommy Bird. Hey, Chaplain JT Rips, good to see you, bud. So all the time, people are asking me to describe that. So what do you mean you have a sobriety channel? So you do like an NA thing, or you do an AA thing online? And I don't know, we're pretty far cry from that, don't you think? I mean, that's not really what we have going on. If you've never been to any kind of a anonymous meeting, whether it be N or A, those anonymous meetings, they go something like this. Everybody kind of goes around the room and you say, "Hi, I'm Tommy Scoville and I'm a heroin addict. I have been sober since, or my last day of using was whatever." And then there'll be one speaker. "Hey, my brother, good to see you, Johnny." There'll be one speaker that talks about what's going on in their life, or a little bit about how they got sober. And quite often it's a horror story, right? Or they're sometimes called combat stories, right? Or war stories. These are, they sound a lot like, boy, that last day I drank 3/5. I crashed my car into the courthouse. I punched the cop that came over to the car, and they just tell you all of these horrible things that happened. And then they sort of roll into how much better life has got. And it's very much a formula. And you can not go to one in 3 or 4 years. And when you do go back, it's going to seem a whole lot like the previous one. We really try to do things here that are a lot different. But the hardest part to explain about the boat is the relationships that have been built. I don't know that people can understand, truthfully, caring about someone enough to say that you love them if you've never been in the same room. And in many cases, you couldn't even pick them out of a lineup if you had to, right? There are a lot of people on this boat that I've never seen that, and there's not much I wouldn't do for them. And it's kind of reached a point in my life, and we just use me as an example, that when things really start going wrong, or I really sort of get out of sorts, this is exactly what I do to heal and to cope. Miss V, she says, "I love all of you. All of you help keep me sane. After everything that has happened to me, you are my family." You know what, Miss V?
Ditto.
Good timing.
Yep.
Good timing. Thank you so much for the generosity, V. But more importantly, thank you for always being here and just being such a huge part of this boat. You really are. It's one of those names that, if we look out and you don't see Miss V there, it's kind of like the sun not coming up in the morning.
Well, she's like one of the first nails that got put in this boat. That's for sure.
Correct. Exactly. One of the first nails driven into the boat, to be sure. I remember the day, honestly, that she came over and said, Leisure told me that I might want to check this out. Seems like, two lifetimes ago. I am coming up on 120 days clean. Tamara, congratulations. Boy, is that awesome, people, or what? Coming up on the 2-month mark. I'm sorry, that's the 3-month or 4-month mark. I was told there would be no math. That's 4 months, is it not?
I think so.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Miss B says, "This is my monthly donation."
Oh.
More importantly, thank you, Miss B.
Yeah.
More importantly is your daily donation.
Exactly.
The fact that you're here day in, day out is just amazing. It really is. And you're just one of those people that everybody can count on, which is really, a pretty nice segue into what we're talking about today. Because people, like I was just saying about myself, when things really start going bad, regardless of what that bad is. I shared last night on the boat that I was a little discouraged after one of the videos, which is me being a child. I'll be really honest with you. It's a pretty childish thing. Because number one, I know it wasn't, as a content creator, it's not that people went, "Boy, that sucks, I'm not going to watch." If that were the case, there would be a view, right? So it's just one of those anomalies where a bunch of people from the boat all did something on the same day, but it just left me feeling a little bummed out. And but instead of doing anything, I am doing really well today, Major. Thank you. Instead of doing anything to cope with this, or to not cope with it, there were 2 people instantly that I reached out to. One was Mark, and the other also is a member of the boat. And within 30 minutes, I was right back on an even keel. See what I did there? That's a boat reference.
Yes, it was.
I was back on an even keel. And that's really the key to what we have going on here, people. It's 7th, 11 months and 9 days today. Do you hear that?
That's awesome,
people,
man.
Our resident, provider of all things funny, right? Our merriment director of dad jokes and all things humorous. 7th is approaching the 1 year mark, which is absolutely huge. It really is. You know, we've talked about doing this, and we really need to do it, Mark, but it would be really awesome to just take all of the time that everybody's been sober and then add it all up.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a way that we can get this put together. Look at the ones going up there. Huh?
Oh
I
yeah.
love
It.
I absolutely love that. I really do. 7th, congratulations. Tamara, congratulations. All of you, everybody here fighting the good fight. And do you know why this works, people? Seriously, I'll tell you why this works. It works because everybody here knows that when things get tough, or if they're struggling, that there's a place that they can come and they can tell anybody here exactly what's going on, or they can tell everybody here exactly what's going on, and no one is going to say, and that's tough, why? Or, you know, why is this such a struggle? None of the questions that the rest of the world seem to ask anytime someone who has a problem with a substance. We say anything, and instantly there's this whole right? You got to try to articulate, and it's not something that needs to happen here. And you know, the term gets thrown around a lot, right? How I'm doing something Friday, I got your back. I got your back, right? I'm moving. Well, I got your back. What that usually means is I'm not going to answer when you call me. I'll come up with a really good excuse to follow.
If you're moving, yeah.
Right? Exactly. I'm just going to make sure. It works when you become invested in someone else's recovery. Boom.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now,
on point.
Perfect, Johnny. You would have think that maybe I asked him to do that. But this is really the answer to exactly what's going on here, people. And it was not invented by myself or my bobble-headed partner. This goes back right now almost 100 years to two guys, and we've talked about them before, but tonight, people, we really got to tip our hats to two people that couldn't quit drinking, who got together and came up with one of the greatest ideas ever, right? Ever. You know, picture me and Mark, right, with our addictions. And Mark says to me, there's no way I can get through tomorrow without doing pills. It's just who I am. I can't do it. I've tried everything under the sun. So I'll tell you what I want you to do. Don't let me take any pills tomorrow. You just keep me from doing it tomorrow. And I won't let you do any heroin. This was really the concept.
Yep.
A guy that said, I know I'm not going to make it, but maybe you can keep me from drinking tomorrow. And at the end of that first day, the world has never been the same. When they realized that 24 hours went by, that was it, people. From that day forward, we have been standing on the backs of giants. And I'll tell you something, I'm proud as hell of what you people have created here on this channel, because I honestly think you have taken this to a level that those two people would be the happiest campers in the world if they could see the lifeboat, if they could see what their dream is morphing into in the age of technology, with people from all over the world. We got, you know, the major coming in from another from another part of the world. It's completely on the other side of the pond. We got people in Australia. We got people all over the world who now count on one another to help them get through the day, because there are days that we might not be able to stay sober without the help of somebody else.
Well, we got a jump start, don't we, Tommy? Like when you get a jump start when you come here, because like you said a minute ago, we don't have to explain.
No.
What we're going through. We can just say it. Now, if we go out to the world, nobody's gonna. You have to explain, and then you have to try to articulate what's actually going on, and they're not going to completely understand.
I have people in my life who I love more than anything in the world, but they've never been addicted to anything. And I've been sober a long time, but if we sit down and we try to have a conversation about where I started, where I ended up, how far I've come, any of that, it always ends up the same type of conversation where they're baffled by the fact that I was unable to do what I'm doing now for 3 decades. And why it works now, but it didn't before. Thank you, Brandon. He says, I'm proud of this boat. I'm on the same journey. And he's doing well with that journey, people. He really is. I'm proud of Brandon. He, when something's going on in the man's life, he reaches out. And that's what's supposed to happen. And that's why this works. But Mark, really, it is a jump start. It's when you eliminate the 40% of every conversation you have with a non-user is trying to make them understand why you just can't put it down. You know, just don't drink. It shouldn't be that hard. Don't do this. Don't do that. Why don't you just stop? How come you just can't have 2 beers? Why can't you just... People, that'll drive you insane, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Noah's Opera. It'll drive you insane.
Yep.
Because we're trying to explain the unexplainable, right? And I promise you, if you're listening to this show tonight and you're not a member of the boat, it's a similar phenomenon. What the hell is this guy talking about? I don't have to explain the boat to anybody on the boat.
Yep.
It's fun to try, but I really don't have to. But to the outside world, I heard a great one, and it's been bantied around before. I've actually heard it a couple of different times, but I just heard it again recently. I actually heard it in church, but a guy's walking and falls into a hole. It's a manhole cover, ends up at the bottom of it, and the first person walking by, he's screaming up for help, and it's a doctor, and he says, "Doc, hey, you got to help me get out of this hole." And the doctor said, "Sure." And he takes out a prescription pad and he writes the guy a prescription and he throws it down the hole and he walks away. And the guy's looking at it going, obviously not a whole lot of help. So as he sees the other people walking by, he screams up, sees a minister, and he says, "Father, you got to help me, please, man. I'm stuck down here." So the minister writes out a prayer on a piece of paper and he tosses it down to the hole to him, which was very kind, but it also did absolutely no help whatsoever to get this man out of the hole. And at this point, he's really starting to get frustrated. And he sees a friend of his go by. And he sees him and he yells up and he says, "Mark, you got to help me get out of this hole." And a second later, Mark jumps down into the hole. To which the friend says, "The heck are you doing? Now we're both stuck down here." And then Mark says, "Yeah, but I've been down here before, and I can show you how to get out of here." And I'll tell you something, people.
That's on point, man. Wow.
It really is exactly
Yeah.
what this entire journey is all about, right? There's nobody on this boat that hasn't been down that hole. And the majority of us lived down that hole for a very, very long time. And one of the things that happens on a regular basis, almost every day in my life, somebody reaches out and says, "I cannot believe how nice everyone was. How I was welcomed there, like, I was a part of the family, or they've known me, my whole life." I got news for you. You are part of the family, and we've known you our whole life, right? Because you're just like us. We are all in the same boat. And it is one of those really unique times in your life when someone says, "Hey, I got your back." They will.
Yes.
I can call anybody on this boat, right? I can reach out to Mark at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, and I have, and say, "You know what? I'm just. It took me a while to realize I was in a hole." Johnny, it takes a long time for a lot of people to realize they're in a hole. But
it was about 10 years for me.
Yeah, it's great when there's a couple of dozen people ready to jump down there. For me, I knew I was in a hole. I really did. The difference for me was I could not bring myself to ask anybody walking by to do any kind of help. I just couldn't. There was a level of pride and arrogance that ran really deep in me. And to say, "Hey, I really need help," was something that I was just never able to do. And the worst part of it was I would look around at other addicts and I would see people and go, just being honest, people, I'd go, "Man, those guys are losers." "Hey, Rick Sanchez is my spirit animal. Good to see you." I would look at those other people and go, "Now those are drug addicts, right? Those are junkies. I'm not like these people. I mean, look at these guys, right?" Like I would go to a meeting and I'd say, "That dude looks homeless," or "This guy looks like a bum. I got a good job. I got this. I got that." Funny how that good job went to hell, right? All of the things that I thought made me better than everybody else very soon faded away. And when I would end up in the same kind of places and I would look and think, that guy may not have money, but he's not stealing every single day, right? And I started to realize quickly that I was the bum in that room, right? There was nobody in there worse off than I was.
We justified it, didn't we?
What's that?
We justified it so we could stay there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely we do. It's a nonstop justification.
Yeah, and you find really weird, things to justify it with. I mean, we all understand, I'll pay him back. We understand that justification, right? But if it's something really, really strange, we don't necessarily, it. And it's one of those things you just grab out of the blue. It's like, how does that even make sense? If people believe it, you think they do, and they don't, and they just play along with you because they're, we get afraid, I think, don't we, Tommy? And then they're afraid with us. They don't You know,
Absolutely.
they don't know how to handle it.
And Johnny touched on something earlier. What really keeps this boat afloat is the fact that everyone I've ever met that gets sober goes in one of two directions. They either get sober and they want to get as far away from anything that can ever remind them of where they have been, right? They want to pretend there's never been a drug problem. They want to pretend they never knew anyone else who had a drug problem. They just want to make it disappear, right? It's like getting a tattoo removed, right? Now, I never had a tat, right? It's gone. Very often those people live what we call dry drunk, right? It's that white knuckle sobriety. Because if you're going to pretend that you've never had a problem, then when those real serious urges or those life trials really get a hold of you, who are you going to call?
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't tell them what's going on in your life. The other half of the people in this, in this recovery game, come to realize that by helping others get out of that hole, that number one, they cement their sobriety. Every day, it makes them stronger in their sobriety. And more importantly, it does something in the brain that none of us have ever felt without a drug. For real. I know it freaks people out every time I say it, but, Mark and I, this is going to come as a shock to you. We're not getting rich doing this, right? This is not a landslide of money. So with the amount of time that we put in, very often we get questions like, and you do this for how long? Like, you do this all the time. And then they usually get to the money part, how much is this paying? And we go, it's really not about that, right? At all. Because usually we're in the hole, right? And not the same hole, but you know what I'm talking about. It's one of those situations that people scratch their head.
Yeah.
And eventually I get then why are you doing this? And like, I'll say this to you guys and all of you will get it. If I say this to somebody outside the boat, they really get this weird look on their face. But I do this because I've never felt anything like this. This feels better to me than it did when the plunger used to hit the bottom of a syringe, right? When the last of that crap got pushed into my vein. I used to believe that was the greatest feeling on this planet until I started helping people get sober. And then I realized that with all of the drugs that I've done, and I've pretty much done them all, right? And I've jumped out of airplanes and I've done all of the things that you can do that are supposed to be, right, that rush. There really is nothing that touches somebody saying, you know what, I didn't use last night, or I didn't get high today, and it was because of what you said, or it was because of the crew, or it was because of that. To me, is the greatest high on this planet.
Or my daughter didn't smell alcohol on my breath.
Or my daughter didn't smell alcohol on my breath, or any number of things. I don't think I'd be alive today if it wasn't for you guys. And when I say you guys, please understand that I don't mean that me and Mark. I'm talking about the boat. And when people say that the boat is part of their sobriety, or when Miss V says, this is my family. People, what my brain does at that time, it goes, and starts sprinkling all of that feel-good stuff all over my gray matter.
Yep.
Right? This is my buzz. And I know that there are people that don't understand that. But you know how many people on the boat are feeling the same thing? You don't have to sit in this chair to get that buzz, right? You don't have to be the one that is on the other side of the glass to get this buzz. When you come to realize that what you're doing is making a difference, when somebody reaches out to you, even if they don't say, "Hey, bud, you really just kept me sober." If you hang up the phone with them and you go, "They're not going to use today," right? I don't need to thank you. If you know that you just helped somebody through a tough situation, and it's going to mean that they hold on to the to the sobriety.
You got this, Wharton. You got it. For sure. Day 2 sober.
Hey, he left a couple of really cool comments last night. I was answering them, I think about the middle of the night. It was one of those things where Squirrel Nut Zipper decided that I had been sleeping long enough and woke me up. And whenever that happens, I tend to check the comments. And Wharton and I shot a couple comments back and forth. I am very proud of you, man, that you're on day 2. Anybody here or I should say, everybody here will tell you that the two most important days of sobriety in a person's life are usually the first two,
Yep.
right? Because if you don't get by those first couple, then you're never going to, get to any other number, right?
100, man.
And then after about 6 months, maybe a year or 2 years, then only one day matters, right? From that point on, the only day that really matters is the day that you're on, because Mark's here and he's got 11 years, and Wharton's got 2 days. My brother Johnny's got 2.5 years. I think I got 7, right? None of those mean anything, right? We're all just trying to get through today. Those things are awesome because they're milestones. They're reminders of your strength. And if you really want to stay on that road, the craziest part, people, the craziest thing is, if you really want to stay on that road, yeah, let's see some ones, man. How about some ones for day 2?
Awesome.
If you really want to stay on that road, if you want to just keep that streak alive, the best way to stay on that is to give it away. It's one of the only gifts in the world, right? Sobriety is the only gift in the world that the more you give it away, right, the more solid it becomes in your life. I've said many times in the past, number one, Stacy Michaels, good to see you. Number one, I'm not a huge fan of the NA and AA model. I'm not. I give them all kinds of credit. I've never badmouthed them. They just don't work for me. And I think that in all honesty, they're a bit outdated. All of the concepts are great. I just think that we're in a different era, and I think that there needs to be a bit of an evolution. Definitely not badmouthing them. Noise Opera, thank you again, man. Really.
Well, I think those programs, Tommy, have been I guess governmentalized, I guess is a way to say it. Yeah, they really have a little bit, guys. I mean, it's not
court ordered.
Yeah, and it's not like people can't get help from them. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying that it is a stiff structure that they go by. There's no open, hardly anything there. It is.
It also becomes a real issue when you go to court for a DWI, or you go to court for domestic violence, or you go to court for insert your favorite crime here, right?
Yep.
The first thing that the judge does is they say, I'm ordering you to 90 meetings in 90 days. This is literally across the board everywhere in the country now. So if you go to one of these meetings, 70 of the 90 people are ordered to be there from court, and the only reason they're in the room is because they need the piece of paper signed so they can show it to their probation officer and remain free, right? That's it. So it used to be everybody in that room just wanted sobriety, and that worked, right? There's nobody here that is coming here at the end of this show and going, hey, Tommy, can you sign this? I want to show it to my probation officer. If you're on the lifeboat, you're on the lifeboat because you want to be here, right? But as much as the model doesn't work for me, it's worked for tens of millions of people, by the way. Yes. I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just not a great fit for me. And the beautiful thing about sobriety is find what works for you. We're never going to badmouth it. I promise you we're not. We're never going to badmouth. If it works for you, then it was a great system. But I'll tell you something. The 12th step to AA or NA says, having had a spiritual awakening, right, by becoming sober, I felt the need to bring this to others. That's the 12th step. And I'll tell you something, people, that has been the most important thing in the world for me. I am sober today because of the lifeboat. Make no mistake. I get stronger in my sobriety on a daily basis because of you all.
That's well said right there. Yeah.
It's a fact. It's a fact. And it was funny because, you have to talk to probation officers, or you talk to all of these people. Denise Budnick, good to see you. I have to justify my freedom, right, to officers of the federal government. And, very often I get well, how many meetings are you attending? And now they literally they've come to realize, they've watched enough of these, and they've come to realize that I don't need to go to a meeting. I go to a minimum of 5 of them a week. And the amount of time I spend doing lifeboat things when I am not here. Major, please pass on positivity. We love that. Yes. And he says, you can do it if you want to. And he's right. You can. And I know it seems at times like it is the most daunting or impossible, thing to look at, right? man, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make it through this? Look around.
Yep.
Right? Look around. Because every single person here felt the exact same way, right? Nobody ever went, wow, this is going to be easy. Just going to put down that needle, right? No problem. 3-4 days of being sick, I'll be right as rain. No, there's no one ever that got through this without having to sort of fight tooth and nail. But when you look around and see an entire group of people that have all made it, I'm telling you, people, it's very obvious in society, but anywhere in life, you know, I skied competitively, and I was a pretty good skier. And some of the things that I did on skis, I can show you some pictures. I did some pretty crazy stuff.
He sent me pictures, guys. It's awesome stuff. Awesome stuff, by the way. One of the things that we filmed once was up on the way to Donner Summit. They hollowed out a mountain for all intents and purposes, and they put a train that goes directly through the side of a mountain. So there's just this like stone archway that a freight train comes shooting out of, right? Really unbelievable. But we built a very large jump there and set up a film crew. And the idea was we were going to do a backflip over this train as it was coming out of the tunnel. Now, when we got up there and I saw the train go by the first time, I was 40 feet away from it and I could feel the wind. Like it was taking the hat off of my head. Wow.
And I thought, if I'm going to get upside down into that jet stream, I'm going to end up landing on this damn thing and it's going to be the end of my life. And I sat there saying, there's no chance I can do this. There is not a chance I can do this. And then a friend of mine came up and said, I did this last year. I said, what? He's like, yeah, I got a picture of it. I did this last year. You want me to go with you guys? And in 2 seconds, the entire thing changed. If somebody else had done this, there was not a doubt in my mind that I could do it, right? I just needed to know it was possible. You know, now I'm buckling up, I'm pulling the hat down a little tighter. Suffice to say we did it, got some cool pictures, but it's the exact same thing. And it's so many facets of our life is one of those situations where just prove it can be done and I'll do it, right? Just prove it can be done. The lifeboat on a daily basis proves that anybody from any walk of life, from any country, from any culture, right, on any drug, doesn't matter, right? We've got people here whose addictions run the gamut, right? From speed drugs like cocaine and speed and all the ones that take you up, all the ones that take you down, gambling, pornography, whatever it is, right? And to come to a place where people can relate to you and truly have your back, it's inspiring to know that there are people here that care. After doing time, you learn that you don't say to someone, I have your back in prison. It's not a term you throw out, because what it means behind a prison wall is if someone's threatening you, I'm going to go get a knife and I will, if they're going to kill you, they're going to kill me, right? The two of us are going to go down together. And it really means that. And so you don't throw this around lightly. You know, it was not a phrase that I used very often in there because there weren't a lot of people whose backs I wanted to have. But I left there with a different respect for that term. And I use it a lot now. You know, I talked to 2 people today on the phone that were having some issues. And to both of them, I said, hey, I got your back. You know, if you need to reach out to me, I don't care what hour of the night, like I do to Mark. You know, if I'm hurting at 3 a.m., I don't even feel bad anymore.
Yeah.
Right? If I've got an issue, I'm going to reach out. It's going to be one of those situations where, you know, Mark's going to hear from me. And I know, and there are other people as well. 5/4 of people admit that they're bad at fractions.
That's pretty good one there. I like that one, man.
5 out of 4 people.
That's not.
Well done. See, that's not a dad
That's
joke.
not even a dad joke.
No, I'm so glad that you did that, because I've been trying to convince people that what you do these days is not at all a dad joke, and this really is different.
Yeah. And I want to say something real quick too, guys.
Please.
One of the best things you can do when you're in that funk, like just so negative. I mean, somebody's, you know, well, You watch your naked spouse go across the room and you don't even feel nothing. You know, all those kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? The things that really should get you moving, right? And that just nothing's happening. The best thing that you can do, and I know this is going to sound hard, but go do something positive for somebody else. And I'm telling you, the act of doing that is going to just yank you right out of it. It will be an immediate thing. You're not going to have to wait. You're not. And then it's going to be hard to get yourself to go do that. I'm not saying that that's an easy thing, but it most certainly will yank you right out of that funk. At least help in a big way.
That's scientific, by the way.
Is it?
You know, if you doubt this for any second, people, then please don't take our word for it. But just do a little time Googling any of this and read about the science of servitude, right? When you are doing something for others, and not doing it because, well, I'm going to get $40 or, you know, it's a $10 an hour thing, so I'll work a little harder. When you are selflessly doing something for somebody else with the expectation of getting nothing out of it, your brain reacts. And if you think about this, this makes perfect sense, right? If a species is going to survive, then you're going to have people taking care of one another. So the part of our brain that rewards us for doing things that are going to help us or the species kicks in. When you go out of your way to help another human being, you get high. There's no other way to say it.
Yep.
You get high. It's not drugs you get on the street. It's drugs that are built in your brain, right? They're manufactured inside your dome, but you get high from helping other people. So I won't lie to you. I get high a lot from doing this. This is almost a daily thing. It's one of the reasons that it's great to have 2 days off. It's great to have a little something to do. It's great to be able to sleep in a little bit more, to not have to put a script together. But it's a situation that, let's just say that I'm ready to come back after 2 days off, every single time without fail. That's right. Today is Leslie's birthday. Happy birthday, Leslie.
Happy birthday, Leslie.
Leslie, servant of God. Yes,
that's right.
She told us yesterday that the birthday would be today. So happy birthday.
Let's get a 7 in the chat for the birthday. How about that?
Can we get a 7?
That's
Let's
right.
put a 7 up there in the chat, people. Thank you, Brandon. Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
So now, nuts and bolts, people, right? Nuts and bolts. So we know we got to, I'm sorry, I've been trying to invite people here to the stream. It's my way of trying to help them. If they don't show up, I can't do anything about it. No, and you're right. That's what you do. You know, you continue to reach out and to ask. And you're right. Your job is not to drag them here and scream, right? It isn't. It's to just say to people, you know what? There's a better way. There really is. This is what's worked for me. You got nothing to lose. Come and give it a try. You definitely don't want to drag anyone kicking and screaming, because the old adage, you know, no one's going to quit until they're ready to. There's something to that, right?
Yes.
Doesn't mean you can't lead a horse to water, but and you should.
Well,
you should always try.
I gave Sarah yesterday a little bit of advice, you know, on how to, like what Missy is talking about here. You know, there's little things you can do, and this goes for anything, not just our show. If it's something positive you want somebody to see, you can introduce it to them in so many different ways. You know, simple stuff like have the TV on playing the lifeboat when they walk through the room.
Yep.
I mean, you'll be surprised how well that works, because somebody's going to say something. Tommy might say something. I might say something. We might read somebody's comment or whatever, and it's going to stop them, and they're going to look. And then what's that going to do? It's going to be curiosity, and then they're going to come back. We got a caller in here too, by the way. Just came in.
Okay, and I do have to say something to Cemetery.
Go for it.
Cemetery said, if you didn't eat for a week, would Vegemite then taste good? And I mean, look, obviously, if you go a week without eating anything, Vegemite's still going to be disgusting. But thank you for asking.
Yeah.
It really is a big thing that that someone is ready, because that's when it happens. However, this is what you have to think about, people. It's a short window. We talk about it all the time, right? The window of when someone is ready to actually make a change. It opens and it closes. It opens and it closes. It opens. You better hit them when it's open. However, you don't know when that moment is, right? So just God forbid, you know, you run into somebody that you know is in the life, and you know that they're struggling, and you say, you know what, I'll invite him next time. You don't know when that window is open. You don't know that the next time may be too late. You know, if you got someone in the life, one of the greatest ways to reach out to someone, I used to say this all the time, and you just say, you know what, if I were still in the life and someone said this to me, I would be so angry. I really would. But this comes from love. I found the way to stay sober. And do me a favor, man. Just come and check it out. Do one show for me. Right? Just come and check out one show and watch these people, because it's a very different group of people. There is nobody that's going to make you feel out of place. No one's going to make you feel like you're a leper. You know, everybody's accepted. Give it a shot. And if they say no, people, it's the best you can do, right? It's the best you can do. But there's nothing worse in the entire world, and I've been there, and I know a lot of other people have too, where you get the phone call and they say they found so-and-so in his apartment. You know, he died of a fentanyl overdose. So you think to yourself,
it's awesome we have that.
I had a shot at talking to him. What's that, Mark?
It's awesome we have that, you know. We got that. That's a huge tool for us. You know, we're here. We know that this is going to be here for us, and we know that you guys are, and us for you, and all that. And we only understand that, and that's the thing. That's what Tommy's talking about. You know, we don't want to. If that window is cracked, like my mom and dad used to just crack the window down just a little bit to let the smoke out, you know, in the car, that's all it takes. If that crack is there, you can reach in and yank that window down for them and yank them in. We got
two good comments here too. The major says you can't help people that don't want help, but you can try. I love that.
Yep.
And Rick Sanchez, my spirit animal, says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So make sure you tell people that recovery is possible. If you lose someone that you care about to an overdose, right? And statistically speaking, since we were in the life, we all are going to lose people in the very near future, and for the foreseeable future, we're going to lose a lot of people that we know. And it doesn't make it easier. It really doesn't. The fact that you invited them, it's not going to make life easier. But if you don't, it will make life harder. I promise you. If you think I had a shot at inviting someone, I had a shot at talking to them over, I have been in that position. It's a terrible position to be in. Now, you said we had someone on the line?
Yeah. Who we got on the line? Can you hear me?
That's Johnny Scoville.
Hey, I thought that was you. I thought that was you. I wasn't going to say it.
Are they not checking IDs here?
What's up,
Johnny,
brother?
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I really am. I'm glad that you called in.
Yep.
It's an interesting thing, people, because the Scoville brothers were both addicted, right? So there were two of us that were in the life, and I was considerably worse off than my brother.
Nonsense.
You know, his
It's a nonsense.
yeah, well, I mean, my drug of choice was just a particularly ugly one, and but it changed our relationship pretty dramatically when both of us got sober. Really kind of bizarre. You know, when you remove the trash out of your life, the things that are important take on a different kind of importance, if that makes sense. My brother and I have been as close as any two brothers could be for the majority of our life, from about the age of 12 on. My 12, he's older than I am, considerably. When I was about 12, we were in a really horrendous car wreck. Almost killed us, or almost killed him. And it, you know, there was something about that wreck that just really brought us close. Prior to that, we were not the brothers that got along, but from that point forward, we have really, really been close. But it has changed dramatically since we got sober, and certainly since I started the lifeboat. Do you find that, Johnny?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. And, you know, I got to share something. We can talk about things on the lifeboat. Everything that my brother's been addicted to, I've been addicted to, just so you all know. But I've beaten it. But, you know, everything has changed. You know, it's funny. You know, I've loved you since day one. You were my 4th birthday present. I don't know if you guys ever know that. He came home on my 4th birthday, and my mom gave him to me and said, here's your birthday present. I've loved you crazy since day one, but I've never been proud of you until now. I don't mean like right now, but since the last couple of years. I get, when I think about it, it's overwhelming how proud I am of you and what you're doing. And when he says that the lifeboat is keeping him sober, that's not fluff. That's not just words to make you all feel good and make you feel like this is something that's important. You know, my channel's the same way. I can never give back to my channel what the people that watch my channel have given to me. And my brother's the same way. Tommy's never going to be able to do for everybody what you guys do for him. But he's trying, and his heart is in the right place. And you know, it's funny. Yesterday, you made a comment. Somebody said that a sibling started using because of trying to help his other sibling his brother get off. I did that. And it took me down a rough road. I did that. It was all the best intentions, I swear. But it was a faulty plan. But you know, in retrospect, looking back, everything happens for a reason. I wouldn't. As bad as the things that I've done, and I've done a lot of bad things, guys. I regret the things that I've done, but you're some of my experiences. If you had taken away all the things that I've done, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. And as bad, as dark and gnarly as some of the roads that my brother Tommy has gone down, it makes him who he is today. Tommy, I can't begin to tell you how proud I am of you. I mean, I know how many times do I tell you that? I mean, daily I send you a text telling you how proud I'm overwhelmed with what you're doing. Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop the lifeboat, because if you think you're just doing I worry for you. We have to keep doing this, and the science of servitude. There's something to that, you guys. If you haven't, Mark said, do something good for somebody with no intention, no expectation of anything back, and watch what that does for you.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. So I didn't mean to talk too much, but
No, you didn't.
And I want to tell you something. Noise Opera, you're a beast. Thank you, brother. No, you know something? This is huge, people.
Yep.
Because
I've never shared that, by the way.
I was about to say.
Well, how's that make you feel, Tommy? He said that. No, I want to know.
Well, here's the thing that's crazy. Sobriety does things, right? We all believe that, right? Thank you, Brandon. It really does. It makes things happen, and you don't out someone. You don't out someone, right? So I'm never gonna. I'm
waiting for me to say it. Let me ask you. Have you been sitting around waiting for me to say something?
I didn't foresee it happening in my lifetime, and I'm not at all, and I'm not upset about that or anything else. But the roads that I went down were uglier, and I know that you have reputation. You're a lot more famous than I'm ever going to be, and there's other things that are involved with that, with family and all kinds of stuff that the drugs that I did were really ugly, and now that sort of the cat's out of the bag, I did do them with my brother, and it's not something that I would have ever said on this channel, and it's not something that I ever would have shared with the world. It's a pretty huge thing that you just did.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie to you. It's it's a bit of a.
You're shocked. I can tell. Yeah. I think everybody can see it on your face, man.
No,
Johnny,
I am. But I'll tell you something. That's good stuff. I think that's.
You know why I said something? Can I tell you why? Just since we're all talking, I can't begin to tell you the guilt that I've been carrying around. Tommy's been so forthright about his troubles and his past, and I haven't. I quit drinking. I think Johnny quit drinking. Johnny quit everything. The only thing I haven't done is buy a shoe. I think that's it. I've never done any salts or designer drugs or anything like that. But I wouldn't go back. As bad as it was, I'm thankful for it all, because it's made me the man that I am right now. And I got to tell you something. Mama Scoville's proud of you, and she's proud of me.
Yes.
And did you ever think there was a day that she would sit back? I was talking to her yesterday. I was talking to my mom yesterday. You know what she said? I said, I'm so proud of Tommy. This is what she said. He's known. You know what he's known for? This is what she said. He's known for his honesty.
Right.
That is.
I got to tell you something.
Wow.
I have to tell you something. If you went back a lifetime, you couldn't find 3 people. You couldn't find one person. I would say that Tommy, I describe him as honest and helping people. And the fact that Mama Scoville's 2 sons are living to make the lives better of people around them is such a beautiful thing. And that's something that outside it's a gift for her that I feel it's tragic that we never gave her that gift before. But and I don't think that when people are in heaven they can look down like a window and see what we're doing. But I know that Papa Scoville knows, and I know that he is proud beyond measure.
Yeah, Johnny, that was huge, man. I have to say, man, that's yeah. I mean, I think Tommy might have shared that with me a long time ago, but I think I kind of forgot.
Yeah.
You know, and for you,
I never did.
And for you to do that is not only is that helping Tommy, it's got to help you too, doesn't it? I mean,
I don't feel like a sham anymore. You gotta understand, for the first 2 years of my channel, I preached to everybody that chase the heat is a mentality. It's running at your problems, like our dad always told us. You don't run, you run at it. You don't run away from it. And I felt like a fraud when I came out on the 1 year anniversary of me being sober. Well, I felt good about that. The second the lifeboat started, I felt like a fraud again. Because Tommy's being so forthright and so honest and so transparent about where he's been and what he's done. And here's John just quit drinking. And I just felt like at some point I gotta, I am what I am.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I just kind of shared that.
Well, I think I go ahead.
I kind of felt yesterday that this had to happen when I heard the story that he started using because help my brother. And that really was it. And that was how it started. And when I heard you say that in last night's show, I was like, that's it. I gotta say it. And I didn't know it wasn't planned on tonight. I promise you that. But it was just something that I felt had to be said.
If you watched last night's show, and what he's talking about is when the person made a reference of, you know what, I started doing drugs because I was going to show my sister just how awful it was and how it looked and all of that. And I said, there was probably a big pause where I said, that's a story that has happened before. Because, the full disclosure, I was strung out on dope and my brother caught a habit. Like literally said, I'm just going to come out there.
Let me tell you real quick. I'll tell you real quick what happened. If you want me to.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I was growing up, the only time Tommy ever guts me is when he's doing something wrong. It was a long time ago, and I kept calling my brother. I was running a business, and I was calling my brother, and he wasn't answering. And he called me. I got him on the phone finally. I said, "What is wrong with you? What is your problem? You can duck me. What are you doing?" He was really forthright. He said, "I'm addicted." I'm like, "You're Scoville. Quit. Whatever it is, quit." And he said, "I can't." I said, "What are you addicted to?" I said, "Heroin." I've never taken a vacation with a company I've been with forever. And I said, "I'm taking a vacation." And it took 2 weeks, and we flew to Utah. And just like you said, I caught a habit. I hated it the first day I did it. I hated it the second day I did it. The last day I couldn't do it. The last day I did it, I loved it. When I couldn't do it anymore, it was brutal. But to be honest with you, since we're talking truth here, I quit for a long time and didn't do it again for a long time. I did it again. And when I did it again, how many years was it, Tommy?
How many years were you off?
No, I was off for several. But when I got back off, how many years was I in the life?
3.
I don't know. That's all? Seems like 2 decades.
I
3
believe
years.
it.
Yeah.
3 years.
And that was some of the gnarliest times. And it's like,
some of the stories that I have told on the boat about some of the crazy things that I did, he was standing there for.
Yep.
But like I said, I would never out anybody.
I never worried about you ever outing me. I knew that but you're my brother, and I love you, and I couldn't sit here and let you fade the heat.
Wow.
And sitting here like the only guy, I just quit drinking. So I'm sorry for everybody on the boat for not being a little bit more transparent and forthright at a time. But there's the truth of it. I'm a sober man right now. I'm sober from everything. Everything right now. I do nothing. I am straight heroin. I'm very, very proud of that. But I guess now you guys know a little bit why I'm so proud of my brother. Now you know a little bit more of the story. But
well, the the fact that you're coming out and just saying it, Johnny, is just, it's awesome. I mean, and the thing
Well,
is,
if the boss gonna fire me, I'm not too worried, right?
yeah, and you know, and I think that that's actually a pretty good point because some people actually have to consider that, unfortunately. But no, for you to do that for Tommy, you're doing it for yourself too, aren't you? I mean,
Can I tell you something? I didn't do it for just for I was about to say I did it for me. I did it for Tommy, but I also did it for every person that may be thinking they're going to need a lifeboat. You know, that's on the boat. Everybody you need to know. I don't want to, you know.
right.
I didn't feel. I'll tell you what. I feel like I lost 15 pounds. I didn't know I was carrying an extra 15 until just a few minutes ago.
That is the lifeboat, though, isn't it?
I wish I had 3 hours, because I promise you, people, it's going to take that long to process. How many times have you seen me speechless? This was really. I mean, I'm blown away. This was a big one, and to do it on the air, I had no idea this was coming. I promise you, that's just huge. I want to say thank you to everybody. While we've been talking, people have been donating. I appreciate that. To Brandon and to I Am the Noise Opera. Appreciate the both of you. And you know, the major donated £5, right? So, which is always a cool thing to see anyway. But he said that's 1 pint I won't be drinking, and you know what? That's huge, man. That's
awesome.
huge.
Yeah, that's a good.
That is huge.
Good.
Major.
The only needles these days are for ink.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, tattoo.
That's right. That's right. Hey, Sarah, how are you?
Proud of Tommy and Johnny. You know what? I am blown away, brother. Very proud of you.
Well, I love you. I'm very, as proud as you are, I'm ashamed that it took me this long to say.
Well, that's it. That's it. We can really say that's in the past now, can't we? Right?
Yep.
What do we talk about here? Once you put something out into the light, that's all. That's over. We can't even talk about it anymore.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what bothered me. It bothered me that, like, that for people to think how bad you were, and to think that, like, Johnny was the good brother. Let me tell you something. I was the bad brother. The older brother should not let that sort of stuff happen. So I was the bad one. I know you guys think that Tommy was, but I was the bad one. I allowed things to happen. I was like the ringleader, man, for a lot of it.
On the bright side, I'm telling you the truth, he never robbed a bank. He never had anything to do with that kind of crime.
Never robbed a bank. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is the truth.
People, let me say something real quick.
Please, absolutely.
Sarah, I'm glad.
One more thing. One last thing, if you don't mind.
Go.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
One thing I wrestled with it so long. I never walked into a bank and, you know, took a deposit out that wasn't mine. All right, I never did that. But I did things the things that I did do were so evil. You know what I mean? And it bothered me so much to see you own everything and me not. I felt like such a coward for so long. I feel this is a good day for me.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's got to be a
pretty big day for me too.
That's a weight off your shoulder. It has to be, man. You've had to be thinking about that for a long time. Has to be. I mean,
I'll tell you, it got worse.
You can see this coming.
The lifeboat made it worse. Trust me. That's the truth of it. The lifeboat is what it's like. Every time I watch the lifeboat, it's like this whole thing in the back of my head, like, what are you gonna do?
Other people have said that. I've gotten emails from people that say, you know, every time I watch the lifeboat, I go through guilt and I go through this, and I always go, well, we're doing something right.
For sure.
Brother,
that's another weird thing about having the channel, because the bigger the channel gets, the more people know me. I'm worried about the comment that says, wait a minute, I know you.
Right.
Waiting for the comment from someone that walked along beside me on some nasty roads. But it is what it is.
You punched me in the head with a pistol.
But yeah.
Story for another day.
Yep.
Noise Opera, thank you, my brother. I really appreciate it. To my real brother. Wow.
We love you, Johnny, for sure.
Thanks for the call, Johnny. This was absolutely
for sure, man.
Love you guys. Great night. And again, sorry for the boat for being a coward for so long, but I've shed that, so we're good now.
That's
All
right.
over
That's
now,
right.
man.
Hey, debt paid. There you go, man. You got it. You got it.
Have a good night, everybody.
See you, bud.
Love you, Mark.
Yep, back at you, brother.
This was a really big day for the boats. It really was. That was insane.
That's crazy stuff.
And Mike and I have had this conversation, because I honestly, like, I haven't shared that with a lot of people, but I definitely shared it with Mark, because it was, you know, and never, you know.
Well, I think Johnny even told me at one point on the phone one day. Yeah. So, hey, this is.
Yeah,
Because
it's
there's some guilt there, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it had to be, and that not only did that help everybody here on the boats in such a huge way, just to see that kind of transparent honesty, but you seen how it affected Tommy. And I know you couldn't see it, Tommy, but we all looked at your face, and everybody was watching your
Yeah.
reactions, and you could tell that was very real for you too. And
this will take a couple of days. I don't know. Honestly, I'm still.
yeah, I can imagine, man. It's going to take
Yeah.
a minute to process that for sure, because especially when it comes out left field like that on you, But you know what
Yeah,
though?
I certainly did not see that coming, and yeah,
It just shows how much that. Well, number one, how far both of you guys have grown. It's again, go back 3 years. Would that have happened? No.
good Lord, no.
No, and that's what I'm saying, and I think that's kind of what we were talking about. People having each other's back here. If you looked at my thumbnail, there was a guy standing out there by himself, and right behind him was the crew, and it was huge. I mean, that's the way that it is, and all you got to do is look. You look, and we're there. And sometimes we're gonna jump out in front of you and say, "Hey, look at me."
You know the best news, crew? This is the best news. I have got stories I can tell you now that are going to blow your mind. Right? Seriously, if all bets are off, I mean, boy, there are some stories I couldn't tell you because of who was there.
Be careful.
But Johnny's going to be coming out to see me shortly, and we will do a Scoville Brothers tell all, because there are some stories that are hard to believe.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
Really some stuff that I've said to my brother before. I can't tell that story, or he'll bring something up and I'll say I can't tell that story. Noise Opera, Brandon, Jesse Brown. Look at you all, man. You guys are the best. Jesse, I'm so glad you're back, bud. Please, I hope we see more of you, and I'm so glad to hear that you're back.
Getting back to work and stuff, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, right. Now, this was really heavy. It really was. We're gonna run a few minutes late.
It's okay.
I don't care.
Who cares, man?
Because exactly. Because while this was going on, there was a really important thing, and I didn't want to cut my brother off because
I see it too.
literally didn't ever think this was going to happen. But it was Pagan, right?
Yep.
Pagan is having the anniversary. I can't find it now, so if I misquote this, I'm sorry. But I believe she's coming up on the anniversary of losing her son, and I want to say it was 21 years. I think is what she said. So I just, boy, my heart goes out to you. But I'm so glad that you're here and you're telling people. I really am glad that you're opening that up, because keeping that inside, this has got to be a very difficult time. Keeping anything inside like that, like my brother can tell you, keeping stuff inside eats at you, right? No matter what that is or why you're keeping it inside, when you get everything out, you're always going to feel better. And now we can keep you in our thoughts and our prayers, because this is a time when you're definitely going to need them,
And there was a comment back there too, Tommy. I want to read real quick. It's way back. It was from Rick Sanchez. He's trying to get it, and I think this is important, because I think this is going to help him. What just happened, actually.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my own sister to acknowledge she still has a problem. I am sending her the link, because I'm making sure I at least tell her help is here without judgment. And if there was ever a show to show somebody
Make
that,
her see this one,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Don't just send her to the boat. Have her see this one.
yeah,
right? Because this is, with the brother and sister, the brother and brother thing, and the comparisons between two sisters and two brothers. This is huge.
Yeah.
This is really a show that I intend to definitely watch again. I'm sure that I look like an idiot through the whole thing.
Man, it's a lot of love there. A lot of love there, man.
I really did not ever see this day happening, and I'm not insulting my brother with that. It's just that I always sort of viewed it as, if ever there was going to be an admission of this, it would have had to have been before he kind of got famous, right? Because he's got sort of a squeaky clean kind of a reputation. So I just didn't see this ever, happening. And honestly, this is the truth. There was no animosity at all on my part that he didn't. I would be lying if I said that there were some times in my life that I really struggled with that. But since the boat and since 4 years of sobriety, whatever, I really was overall of that completely. I didn't care. And but now I'm absolutely
Well, something that happens when stuff like this happens, I know Johnny's sitting there and he's probably not thinking this right now, but when we do things like this, we oftentimes think it's going to hurt our credibility. I can tell you right now, his credibility just shot straight to the ceiling. I mean, you know what I mean, though. I mean, people are afraid to say stuff like this because they think it's going to affect, like you said, you use the word squeaky clean. And those, if that's a persona that we're trying to achieve, but the thing of it is, your credibility is so much higher when you're transparent like that. Yeah. It's so much is. It's
well, and
crazy.
What's beautiful too is now, Johnny, you don't have to worry about that person showing up going, I'm pretty sure I shot heroin with you, right? Like
yeah.
Now all that's off the table. Yeah, I already told everybody that. So,
that's awesome though. I mean, that's awesome for him, and it's awesome for you because you just said you struggled with it at times in your life, and I know that you've gotten over it, but there was probably still something a little there. You really wanted him to say that, I think, probably.
No, it was huge. It really was, and for as much for him as for me, I'm really glad that he said that. And I saw Cemetery said, my life jacket has a hole in it, and Miss V said, it's okay, Cemetery, I'll patch it for you. Right
there, you go. That's awesome.
And then Leisure says, "You sure it's not a straight jacket?" I was gonna say, Miss V beat me to it because I was gonna say, "You can have mine."
That's awesome.
Seriously, we'll just hold on to each other.
That's right. That's right.
I got all kinds of faith. Right, we'll just hug each other.
I can tread water.
One ought to be plenty for the both of us. People, boy, this was a good show.
Yep.
Yeah. This was all about having your back, and
yeah, wow,
this was one hell of a show. Wharton, congratulations! Right, keep it up, my brother. Keep it up. You can do this. To everybody who donated tonight, thank you so much. Noise Opera, Major, boy, there's a lot of you. Brandon, wow, I really appreciate all of you. I really do. Miss V, thank you so much.
Prayers for you, Wharton. We'll be praying for you.
We will be praying for you.
That's horrible.
Hey, Zen Wen, good to see you. It's okay that you're late because we record these things. So you're all good. Go watch it. Pamela Swan, good to see you. It was great to see you, Jesse, and thanks for your generosity as well. People, we will be back tomorrow night with a show that will not be filled with this much explosive news. I don't think there's anything left we could tell you, at least the Scoville end of it. It's all out on the table now. Thank you, Tommy Bird. Yeah, this was a good night. All right, I love you guys. I really do. That's from the bottom of my heart. And I'm proud of you people and everything that you've built here. Thanks for giving Mark and I the best seats in the house. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass,
Mark Wages.
And this is a cat in a basket. Good night, everybody.